Hey, my name is Untitled Powerlifter and you're watching the world's strongest man.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. First up, it's powerlifter Jesus Olivares. He says, strength is the only thing that matters in this world. Everything else is just a delusion for the weak. I think that's a quote from Dragon Ball Z. Next up, it's Rhiannon Lovelace, and she says, this is a combination of a tight lat and also a brain fart. It made it way harder than it needed to be. But that's 60 kilos or 132 pounds, and it looked fairly solid. Next up, we're out in Iceland, and we join Ragnhildur Jónasdóttir with a new personal record. It's 2 reps with 80 kilos or 176 pounds. Next up, it's Big Ronnie, and he says, shoulder power is on. I have one more heavy overhead press next week. Let's go for the magic number. Up next, it's a new lifter. This is the Wall Street weightlifter. He says, social media is a highlight reel, and if you're training correctly, you should have mostly highlights. Here's a behind the neck split jerk with 215 kilos or 475 pounds. That's pretty impressive. Now we're back again with Rhiannon Lovelace. She says, this was a big goal I've been chasing for a while. Last year's shoulder injury set me back, but then here it is, handed to me on a plate. Here's a clip from Tom Lindley Mullins. It's 125 kilos or 276 pounds for his new personal best, and he says 130 kilos won't be far away. Next up, it's Scott McGowan, and he's working on a strict press. The weight, 130 kilos or 286 pounds for 3 reps. He actually did that for 3 sets, and he says he's really happy with how it's moving right now. Next up, we move out to France, and we join Aurélien Lejeune. He says, I am the strongest man in France. Here's a 160 kilo log, and it's going really well. Next up, it's Lewis Bing, working on his log press. It's 166 kilos or 366 pounds, and he says it's the first log he's done in over a month, so he looks really happy with it. Next up, it's Emmanuel Frias, working on a strict personal record. The weight of this log is 175 kilos or 385 pounds. He leans back and fights it through for a good rep. Now next up, we join Shane Nye. He says, I've not touched a log in a while. My triceps didn't feel strong, but the speed off the chest was good. Now it's time to prep for a really big log, and that's 180 kilos or 396 pounds. Now next up, it's a warm-up apparently for Wesley Claiborne. This is 181 kilos or 400 pounds for 5 reps. Wesley, an awesome presser. We're still waiting for him to get some kind of an invitation, definitely to a large show like Giants Live or something where he can qualify for the world's strongest man. He definitely deserves it. Next up, it's Mitchell Hooper, still working on his overhead press, and it's definitely coming on nicely. This is 188 kilos or 415 pounds for 2 reps. We now move into some squatting, and here is Mateusz Kieliszkowski, still working on his recovery. Next up, we join powerlifter Craig Foster. He says, another good week of training squats, starting to feel like normal again. That's 339 kilos or 749 pounds for 3 reps. We've now got a moving event from Jordan Osborne. It's a heavy farmer's walk with 190 kilos or 418 pounds in each hand, and he rounds out the first half of today's video.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Now we're into the second part of today's video, and we kick off with the deadlift section. First up, it's powerlifter Susanna Toth. She says, this pre-workout I had is making me believe I can lift the planet. Well, at least a small one, like a microscopic one, but I'm still buzzing. Next up, it's under 23 strongman competitor from Wales, Dan Sims. He's working on an axle, pulling 301 kilos or 664 pounds. Next up, it's Dr. Greg Inocencio. He says, here's a mere 675 triple, not terrible, but it is acceptable, due to low carbs for the past 6 days. I'm looking forward to the carb refeed tomorrow. It's not much, but it's good work. Next up, it's Ashton Ruska. He says, I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Thankfully, today wasn't scheduled to be anything crazy, just getting the work done. Here's a clip from Jack Davey. He says, "I finally broke the 700-pound barrier, and by quite a bit. Man, it feels good." And that's his new personal best. Next up, it's England's Strongest Man 2022, Ryan Bennett. He says, "Very happy with tonight's session down at Koru Gym. That's 370 kilos, or 815 pounds, from a height of 18 inches. Next up, it's Pavlo Kordiaka. He says, "Deadlift 375 kilos, my new PB. I did this on an Alico IPF bar. Glory to Ukraine and glory to the armed forces of Ukraine." Next up in competition, it's Max Kleinwachter, pulling at deadlift domination. The weight, 385 kilos, or 848 pounds, and he looks really happy. Now, you can't have a deadlift section without powerlifter Jamal Browner. He says, "This is my first single of the training block. It's an incredible 410 kilos, or 904 pounds. Exciting times ahead for him." Next up, it's strongman Sean Logan. He was competing at the Cerberus New Zealand Games. Here he is pulling 550 kilos, or 1,212 pounds, on a silver dollar deadlift. Now, next up, I've got some competition news, and it's all about the Arnold Strongman Classic UK. Here are some athletes that have been confirmed for the lineup. We've got Konstantin Janasha of Georgia. Also joining him will be Rauno Heinler of Estonia. His deadlift is looking really good right now. Next up, it's Paul Smith. He is the current UK Strongest Man, and this gives him another chance to shine. Now, next up, it's Jerry Pritchett, the Iron Outlaw. It's awesome to see him being flown in from America. He's not competed in the UK for quite a while. And the final name they've confirmed so far is Ireland's Pat O'Dwyer. This gives him a really good chance to qualify for a Columbus, Ohio final. And also, Pat is stepping in to replace Adam Bishop in the Giants Live Open, happening on the 6th of August in Cardiff. Good luck to Pat. Let's hope he can qualify for next year's World's Strongest Man. And seeing us out today, it's powerlifter turned strongman Luke Nall. He says, "Smacked out some log at comp weight today, 340 pounds for 5 reps in 35 seconds. You'll notice he's using a Viper press or one motion technique. This allows Luke to get as many reps as possible when he competes in the Shore Classic." Now, Luke is actually someone I did a separate video about, and I'll leave a link in the description below, so definitely check it out if you can. Anyway guys, that's it from me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you again as always on the next one.
Redeemed.
It's a heavy bitch.